Imagine this. It's the middle of a crucial game. Your team desperately needs all the help it can get, and one of the players simply decides not to step on the field. That's exactly what happened with Diontae Johnson and the Ravens. But what nobody knew until now was the real, unbelievable reason behind that choice. And what he just revealed is going to blow your mind. In today's video, I'm going to share everything Diontae said. And trust me, the story is so wild, almost sounds fake. But it's all straight from him, in his own words. Even worse, what he did not only hurt the team in that game, but completely changed the course of his NFL career. So stick around till the end, because you'll see how one decision in a single game turned into one of the biggest controversies in Baltimore this season. And believe me, what Johnson revealed will make you question if he was really cut out to wear the Ravens jersey. Go Ravens! Picture this. The Ravens are battling hard against the Eagles, one of the toughest teams of the season. Suddenly, Diontae Johnson, who was brought in specifically to help in moments like this, decides he's not going to play anymore. That's exactly what happened. When Bateman got injured and the Ravens needed someone to step up, Johnson simply said no. And the reason? You won't believe what he said next. On a podcast, Diontae explained why he stayed on the bench. He said he was freezing cold. Yes, you heard that right. He said his legs were ice cold. He had been through a lot that year, and he didn't want to risk going in and messing up in his mind. It was better to sit out than to make mistakes and have those clips haunt him later. But from the outside, that excuse sounded unbelievable. Ravens fans, who always expect heart and hustle from every player, couldn't wrap their heads around it. How can a guy worry about the cold when the team desperately needs him? Especially playing the AFC North, where cold weather is part of the game. The front office couldn't overlook that. Johnson was suspended soon after because they just couldn't accept that kind of attitude in such a critical game. What hurts most about this is that game was key in the Ravens season race. They lost by a narrow margin, and everyone was left wondering what could have been if Johnson had done his part on the field. But his decision's impact didn't stop there. What happened next shook the Ravens' locker room and Johnson's future in the NFL even more. Think about it. When a player abandons a team in the middle of such a tight game, it messes with way more than just a score. In that moment against the Eagles, the Ravens were hanging by a thread. They'd already lost Bateman to a knee injury, and Johnson was their most experienced option to keep the offense going. But instead of stepping up, he let the team down. The result? The offense got limited. The game tightened up, and Baltimore lost 24-19 in a matchup that could have changed their season's trajectory. What's even more frustrating is the context. This wasn't just any game. It was against a team that would go on to win the Super Bowl. Imagine the pressure on the Ravens and how much that game meant for their confidence. Johnson's move wasn't just a personal failure. It was like turning his back on the entire squad in a battle. When that happens, the locker room vibe shifts. Teammates don't see you the same way anymore. There's more. His action forced the coaching staff to rethink the entire offensive game plan on the fly. Last-minute adjustments and scrambling to cover for his absence took the team's focus away from what really mattered, winning. It was like playing one man short at the worst possible time. That's why, after that loss, the mood in the locker room turned heavy and patience with Johnson ran out fast. But what came next showed that Johnson's story with the Ravens was about to unravel even faster than anyone expected. The days that followed made it clear his time in Baltimore would go down as one of the shortest and most disappointing in recent memory. After all that, the Ravens didn't waste time. Johnson was suspended for their next game against the Giants, a move that showed just how fed up the team was with his behavior. And when everyone thought he might try to make amends, the bomb dropped. The wide receiver was cut before their second game against the Steelers, the very team that drafted him. A bitter, early end for a signing that started with promise. What really stands out is how quickly everything fell apart. He came in as a low-risk, high-reward pick, seen by many as a strategic addition to boost the offense. But in no time, his name was tied to controversy, mistrust, and disappointment. While fans initially hoped to see some big plays by the end, they felt relief that the team was finally done dealing with a growing problem. To make matters worse, his stats in a Ravens jersey were almost symbolic. For games played, 1 catch for 6 yards, and nothing else of note. That's on an offense needing weapons to support Lamar Jackson, especially after Bateman's injury. In the end, Johnson's time in Baltimore was like a ghost story, barely seen and leaving more drama than football. And if that wasn't enough, his cold weather excuse made Ravens fans even angrier. Considering his history and the fact that he'd always played in the same division, that reason was just too hard to swallow.
All right, we're already past the halfway point of this video, but before we continue, I noticed you haven't left a like yet. It's really important because it helps YouTube keep showing you my content so I can keep bringing you the best news about the Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead and hit that like button. It's free and it really helps. Thanks. Now let's get back to it.
Now tell me this. How does a player who spent years in the AFC North, the coldest, toughest division in the NFL, use the cold as an excuse? Diontae Johnson played for the Steelers, then the Ravens, and now he's with the Browns. That means he's no stranger to brutal winters, outdoor games, and the biting winds that come with them. So, for a guy with that kind of experience to say the cold kept him off the field just doesn't add up. It came across as a weak excuse, and Ravens fans were even more disappointed. Fans expect players in the AFC North to be tough as nails, to face the cold as part of the challenge. The harsh weather is part of the division's identity, and anyone who plays here knows exactly what that means. So when Johnson dropped that line, it felt like he didn't understand what it really means to wear a Ravens jersey. It seemed like he lacked the fighting spirit that this team and city holds so dearly. To make matters worse, he's now with the Browns, another AFC North team, playing the same freezing conditions that supposedly kept him frozen on the bench. What's going to happen when winter really hits Cleveland? How will Browns fans react if he pulls the same stunt? This whole episode is now one of the strangest moments in his career, and will probably be remembered every time he steps onto the field during those cold games. But believe it or not, the Ravens still managed to turn this whole mess into a smart move behind scenes. The way the front office handled the end of Johnson's time in Baltimore showed cold calculation and strategic vision, even in the middle of chaos. Even after all the drama, the Ravens showed they know how to play the game behind the scenes. When Johnson was cut and picked up by the Texans, many thought that chapter was closed for good, but it wasn't. The front office made a cold, strategic move. They reacquired Johnson as part of a procedural step to possibly secure a compensatory draft pick if he signs a qualifying contract in free agency. It was a way to turn a problem into an opportunity. This move made it clear that no matter how much things fell apart on the field, off the field the front office kept their cool. While fans were frustrated over the big loss and the signing gone wrong, the management was already thinking ahead, how to minimize damage and maybe even score a draft advantage. That's why the Ravens are so respected when it comes to roster management and long-term planning. In the end, Diontae Johnson became a prime example of how a low-risk gamble can end up costing dearly in team chemistry and season impact. But at the same time, his story left a valuable lesson on how smart front office moves can salvage what looks like a lost cause. His name will probably be remembered more for what happened off the field than the plays he failed to deliver in Baltimore. Now Johnson's future is with the Cleveland Browns, a team in the same division, facing the same weather and dealing with the same challenges. Meanwhile, the Ravens move forward, focus on strengthening their roster and turning mistakes into lessons for the battles ahead. When it's all said and done, Diontae Johnson's time with the Ravens ended up being more about controversy than contributions on the field. What should have been a golden opportunity to prove himself on a competitive team turned into a lesson on how the wrong attitude can cost both the player and the team dearly. What's interesting is that, even after all the drama, the Ravens managed to act smart and turn the chaos into a strategic play, aiming for a compensatory pick down the line. It just shows how focused this team is on building a strong roster, ready to face the challenges of next season. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about Diontae Johnson's attitude? Do you believe the Ravens did the right thing cutting him so fast? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep following every move of our team together.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about the world of football and want to learn more about the Ravens' legacy, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who is also a Baltimore Ravens fan and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one was handpicked just for you, and the other is a recommendation from YouTube itself. See you there, and until the next video, go Flock.